Let's talk about terminology to begin with. How do you introduce that conversation such that it is inclusive and inviting? Do we just call it racism and say, deal with it, that's what it is, or should we think about it in a more expansive way?
I think part of the whole idea of terminology too comes back to what are our goals? What are our goals in all this? And actually, I think, even after the election of President Obama, where I heard people say like, well, it's good that we can move towards a post-racial America.
It's hard to even say that word now without sort of a side eye.
Well, I don't think it's the right goal. I don't want to exist in a post-racial America because I'm not ashamed of my race. And nobody should be ashamed of theirs. I don't want to exist in a post-racial America. I want to exist in a post-racist America. I want to exist in a place where me, as an African American, and everyone else, whatever their background or of origin is, they can be proud of that and know they're not going to be discriminated because of it. And so there's a difference. And so I think in terms of the terminology piece, even the ideas of what type of goals are we aiming for, that's what I think becomes the crucial question. And even past the ideas of what are we going to call it, I still don't think we're in a place that we're even aiming for the same things.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about what you mean by that.
Well, I think that, it kind of goes back to the idea of you talk about this idea of what makes America great, right? And even the whole thing about making America great again. Well, I can tell you for a whole lot of people in this country, America is still reaching for its definition of greatness.
Right.
So when we hear that statement for a lot of different people, it conjures up different ideas. It conjures up different memories.
So a suggestion that America was greater when there were less of you around?
Correct. And so this concept of making America great again, I think the thing that makes America great is that America has been this constant experiment. America has been this thing that has asked itself repeatedly to question itself, to question where it is, to question, do we live up to its greatest ideals? There's a song by a guy named Donny Hathaway, and it's just called A Song for You, and he says, there's a line when he says, I know your image of me is what I hope to be. And I think in many ways, that's what our country is, where we know this image of America is what we hope to be. But that's the beauty of it, is that we're constantly asking ourselves and saying, are we there yet? We're like the kids in the back seat of the car, right? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And I think I think part of the joy of America is the fact that that you also then have the parents in the front seat saying, almost, almost. And I think that continuing to push that almost so one day we can say we're there yet, that we are here, becomes an important goal. But for me, my there yet is not necessarily when people look and they don't see race. But my are we there yet is when we can look at each other and we can acknowledge our differences and say, but I'm better because you're different, because you're in the room.